fee. Some are being lied to that they are going to work outside, Madam Speaker, and it's all under the government watch, Madam Speaker. So I hope when this statement is being dealt with, that we are not just going to give a report as usual, Madam Speaker. We have to see arrests. There are so many of our desperate youth who have ended up with severe complications because they are being told you'll get 300,000 instantly. Some are being promised with an exchange of a boda, Madam Speaker. Can you imagine? Someone is just, because they are so desperate, they're saying, let me give out my kidney so I can get a boda and start, earning and living, Madam Speaker. So I think this is unfortunate. This is not what this government intended to do with our youth. And it's a very, very unfortunate event. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Sifuna.
Madam Speaker, I rise to comment on the statement by Senator Onyonka. But before I do, I have forgiven my counterpart from Kiambu. During the campaigns, we had a campaign where we used to transport people from Murima. They go and see how Western region and the lake looks like. We take our people from Western. They also come and see the difference between Kiambu, Muranga, and the others. Because some Kenyans, Madam Speaker, because they have never gone past their homes and their home areas, they don't know the difference between Kakamega, Bungoma, Vihiga, and Trans Nzoia. So to him, we all look the same. He looks at me and he says, Halwale. we all look the same. But there is need for a cultural exchange, which is why it was terrible that Senate Mashinani, which was scheduled to happen in Busia last year, was cancelled. I think the senator for Kiambu would have benefited from that trip. Madam Speaker, I also watched with horror last night on the news these reports of organ harvesting at a very credible, hitherto credible medical facility in Eldoret. And many of us actually have even sought services there. Many of our parents, especially from Western Kenya, they consider this facility a very credible facility. In fact, when the late Lawrence Sifuna passed, that is a facility that was taking care of him. So we were in shock, Madam Speaker. But it points to a greater problem in the country, not just the exploitation of young people, the economic situation in the country, that Kenyans are so desperate now that they consider some of their parts of their bodies not useful, available for sale, so that they can eat. They can feed one organ, the stomach only, Honorable Speaker. It is a sad situation. And then in the papers in the morning, I read that there were top ministry officials in the Ministry of Health that doctored the report on this organ harvesting and trafficking business to remove what they call damning sections of that report. I think those are the people the committee should go for. Because if we are unable to provide a good living for our people such that they can be exploited like this, we at the very minimum should be able to catch the people who are exploiting them when it happens in the circumstances that have happened with the Medill in Eldoret. So, Honorable Speaker, I think our committee should focus on those people. We want the original report, the unadulterated report, so that we know the culprits and we prescribe the best punishment for them. There should be arrests, as the senators who have spoken before me have said. And I don't know what is happening to professionalism in this country. I think, Dr. Halwale, you must speak to this. Even those KMPDU, the unions, and the, the other one is called Kenya Medical Association or what? The Doctors Registration Body. They also need now to enforce ethical behavior within their own profession. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Senator Cherarki.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I rise to support the statement on the issue of kidney transplant operations by Medill Hospital in Eldoret. Mr. Speaker, Madam Speaker, I used to think this Medill group of hospitals was credible. As my colleagues have said, a number of us have sought medical services, but I watch with horror, gnashing of teeth, and with a lot of afraid, Madam Speaker, when I saw that some of our young people the hospital was facilitating the transplant of kidney to Israel, Madam Speaker, and I'm happy the Israel Embassy in Nairobi has issued a statement condemning and saying they are willing to partner in the investigation. Now, Madam Speaker, and you remember in the last, some of the leaders of Medill, in the last session, colleagues who are not in parliament, when you used to go to Keses constituency, TVs were being given out, cows were being given out, and many things. Kumbe, they were just selling human organs to go and donate in campaigns in Keses constituency, Madam Speaker, and it was very sad. that 372 organ transplant has been done. Madam Speaker, it's very unfortunate. The Ministry of Health must be called out for sanctioning and approving this process. I know in Kenya we don't have a proper law on how organ harvesting, selling organ transplant should be done. But it is a wake-up call that anybody who participated in this illegal syndicate of organ transplant and organ harvesting must be brought to book. I watch with pain that some of the young people who sold kidneys and other organs have now become weak. They cannot do anything, Mr. Speaker, even participating in conjugal rights, Mr. Speaker. So, Madam Speaker, so it's very unfortunate that this country is becoming like this. And I heard today Maina Kageni and Mwalimu Kingang in the morning at Classic 105 saying even some Kenyans, the economic situation is so sad that some Kenyans might even want to sell some parts of their body, like even fingernails and toes, Madam Speaker, so that they can cover. So it means there is a deeper problem of economic challenges in this country. We must come out, and I want to call out professional bodies and Ministry of Health to sanction all officials who participated in this syndicate, Madam Speaker. And in future, I want to warn Kenyans, when you see politicians giving out money without explaining their source of that money, be very careful. Because the same hospital were being used by politicians to get even elected to seats, Madam Speaker. So be very careful. Finally, on Teacher Service Commission promotions, I agree Teacher Service Commission is now the headquarters of corruption. They should be called to order. They were given 1 billion, they only promoted 25,000 teachers, and there was a lot of political patronage. TSC has been accused that they have even left their work of recruitment to other agencies, including politicians. They must be called out. Well, I support those statements, Madam Speaker.
Senator Okenyuri.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I want to begin by supporting the statement by Senator Onyonka on promotion for the just concluded exercise by TSC. Madam Speaker, when I use the words of Senator Cherargei, TSC is actually the headquarters of corruption, Madam Speaker. Notorious officials who I call rogue are actually soliciting for resources from very teachers who are already in a deplorable state, Madam Speaker, for them to get promoted. In the just concluded exercise, you have a teacher who has been in the service for over 17 years who didn't get promotion. But on the other hand, you have a teacher who has just joined service for just 1 year and they were promoted, Madam Speaker. How do you explain that, Madam Speaker? If I actually use the words of a trade unionist by the name Benjamin Burombo, who actually said, when I'm fighting for African rights, the other hand is busy keeping away Africans who are fighting me. Madam Speaker, I know corruption will always fight back, but this is not an issue we are going to relent about, because teachers will largely accept that also they deserve some kind of support and well remuneration, so that they also can have the motivation to keep doing the service they are offering to Kenyans, Madam Speaker. So I want to call out TSC, and the officers in those offices have actually overstayed. But my worry is, even if they are going to be reshuffled, the culture is the same. It runs from the national to the ground, Madam Speaker. So I want to really say whatever they are doing will not be entertained. Madam Speaker, I also want to support the statement by Senator Cherargei on the tariff that has been imposed by the US government, Madam Speaker. That has effects on us, Madam Speaker, and I think as a country we need, on a serious note, to look at the engagement we are having with other countries. Just the other day, South Sudan banned having tea imports, Madam Speaker, from Kenya. That on a trickle-down effect, most tea farmers are going to suffer huge losses, and as a result, we are also going to generate revenue, Madam Speaker. So on a quick, that the committee that is going to look on that issue is my committee, Trade, Madam Speaker, and I want to promise Senator Cherargei that we are going to look deeply in that matter so that we sort out most of those challenges that have been addressed by the Nandi warrior, Senator Cherargei. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Senator Halwade.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Madam Speaker, the issue by Senator Mtata about compensation is very serious. It is only today, when it has come into public domain, that Professor PLO Lumumba has sued Honorable Nixon Korir, PS Lands, because they have embezzled 184 families of money meant for compensation for areas where the standard gauge rail line passed through. Nixon Korir with some other senior officers at the Ministry of Lands. Parliament, we must wake up to these things. Lumumba should not be doing our work. We should by now have removed Nixon Korir from office to pave way for comprehensive investigations. How do you investigate the PS when he's in control of all the data that the courts will require to nail him? He must be suspended. Mr. Speaker, I demand that Nixon Korir steps down as a PS and await the outcome of the investigations. Mr. Speaker,
What's your point of order, Senator Eddy?
Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker.
Order, Senator Cherargei, please.
Madam Speaker, 101. Standing order 101. The majority whip who oversights the government has brought to the attention of this House very serious things happening in the government where he's the whip.
Senator Eddy, what's your point of order under which standing
But that's the point of order, Madam Speaker. I've said point of order number 105, 101, Madam Speaker. And the issue that he has brought to us, Madam Speaker, is that there is a PS that he has alleged has embezzled some funds that must resign, and he has used the word demand, which I respect because he's the whip who has demanded that. It's unanswered, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, under 101, is indeed in order.
Senator Eddy, can you cite the standing order under which you are actually... No. Oh, I didn't hear that.
Madam Speaker said 101.
Hear that.
I was just saving you the reading.
Yeah.
Under 101, Madam Speaker, can we discuss the conduct of an individual without a substantive motion? Can the whip be directed to give us a substantive motion? Because, Madam Speaker, this is a very serious issue. Where embezzlement is involved, may you direct the whip to bring a substantive motion on the said PS so that we can be able to converse, and doesn't demand it just out of the blues. The demand is obsolete if it doesn't have any power given by this House, Madam Speaker. Can you give us the substantive motion?
Senator Halwale, you have had the point of order. Would you please withdraw your demands around the PS and bring before this House the matter in the proper manner so that it can be discussed?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'll do as directed. I will be able to handle it in the proper manner. And yes. Mr. Speaker, for purposes of this
first withdraw the demand that...
yes, I withdraw the demand.
Thank you.
Until guided by a resolution of the House. Madam Speaker, allow me to use this opportunity. There was a time when I was your age, Senator for Migori, and the nominated Senator Gloria, who keeps on screaming from the back there. There was a time we were your age. And we learned from the senior politicians in this House to be good legislators.
Senator Halwale, please don't use unparliamentary language in respect of colleagues.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, if I may go to my contribution. On the issue of raised by Senator Onyonka, Madam Speaker, about human organ trafficking, I want to call upon the chairman of the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Board, Professor Stanley Khainga, who was my classmate from high school all the way through medical school. Professor Kainga, the eyes of the country are on you. You should have, accompanied by the PS Health, accompanied by CS Health, accompanied by CS Internal Security, all should have gone to Eldoret to go and close down this thing you're calling a hospital. How can it be, as I saw some so-called CEO of that hospital, I saw on TV, struggling to say that they are a world-class center of doing kidney transplants. And as she said so, she spoke in broken English. A world-class center cannot employ people who are illiterate. They should not play around with the children of the poor. I want to see a child of a minister going to donate, a child of a PS going to donate a kidney for somebody who is unknown to them. Mr. Speaker, in medical ethics, you donate organs within families. And before that donation is done, you do everything up to and including DNA. We cannot just allow people to be exploited. What a pity. 300,000 shillings in exchange of an organ that will turn your life completely, in exchange of conmanship by people who will get millions of shillings from that organ. It must stop. We must protect the poor. And if it's not,
Senator Khalwala, you can finalize in 30 seconds. In 30 seconds.
Yes, Madam Speaker, I finalize by addressing the Minister of Health. He is not going to intimidate anybody. The Minister of Health is on record bragging that although he is not a doctor, he knows more than a doctor. Duale, please. Please, you are a small boy. I saw you found me in this parliament.
Senator Khalwala, please withdraw those words. Don't use unparliamentary language.
Okay, I withdraw the small boy part, but caution him again and again to stop playing with doctors. He should go and reflect what became of his classmates with whom they were in high school. How was he performing in class compared to his classmates who went to medical school? He owes them some degree of respect. Being appointed as a minister does not make you supernaturally clever. In fact, there are Kenyans who would be making this government performing better if they were the ones in those ministerial dockets. Mahoba.
Senator Mutinda.
Madam Speaker, I do rise to make comments on Senator Cherargei's statement in regards to the 10% tariff that has been imposed to the Kenyan exports by United States of America. Madam Speaker, we all agree very much that tea, coffee, the horticulture, textile, but especially tea and coffee are the highest economic horticultural products that we have in this country. And the increase of these tariffs, Madam Speaker, definitely then will impact negatively as far as the revenues for these two products are concerned. I hope and believe that the committee that has been assigned this particular discussion will be able to look into this so that we do not really water down the efforts of our farmers in the tea sector and the coffee sector. Madam Speaker, allow me to touch also on Senator Onyonka's statement in regards to the kidney transplants in this Medill Hospital. Madam Speaker, Medill, from where I sit, where I've passed by and seen how it looks very classy, it looks very nice, a good hospital, well-maintained and all that. So, of course, Madam Speaker, the expectation is that the standards and the administration, services are up to as what you see, as what your eyes see. But Madam Speaker, what we've seen of late, the documentary that we saw, it's completely out of this world, Madam Speaker. You know, the other day, last year, yes, when we had the issue of Shakahola, the discussion came was it issues, a business of organ sale or operations in terms of these organs being removed from Kenyans and sold out there. A lot of discussions, went round. Now, with this issue that has been highlighted from such a hospital, it's very sad, Madam Speaker, and I want to request the relevant ministry, which is the Ministry of Health. It has a new ministry. I believe Duale will be able to perform, will be able to deliver. He's been assigned different ministries, and we've seen him streamlining these ministries. Madam Speaker, at times you don't have to be a doctor to serve in this particular Ministry of Health. Leadership takes the lead. And we believe in his leadership that he's going to ensure such unscrupulous business people putting up hospitals for such kind of money-making businesses, this should stop, Madam Speaker. Lastly, is also on the issue of teachers, that I'm told it's also the statement for Senator Onyonka in regards to the recent promotions that have been unfair. Madam Speaker, where you sit, you and me and everyone, we've come from the education system. I mean, we are here because we started, our teachers really...
30 seconds, Senator.
Oh, thank you, Madam Speaker. So our teachers, for Christ's sake, Madam Speaker, they deserve good promotions. They deserve fair promotions, Madam Speaker. Everyone has passed through the education system. So it is fair. You can imagine today I sit here as a senator, and the teacher who taught me in that lower level today, they've never even, for example, gotten their fair share of promotion. It's quite very much unfair. So it is fair that the CEO, TSC, and the relevant bodies concerned in terms of, in regards to these promotions, they offer it fairly to the teachers who go out of their way to ensure that learning is to the standard that is required. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The last speaker will be Senator Eddie.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Senator Cherargei has brought to this House a very important statement, Madam Speaker. And this statement, Madam Speaker, perhaps has skipped the lawmakers in Kenya. This statement, Madam Speaker, is to the Standing Committee of Trade, Industrialization and Tourism on a matter of national concern regarding the impact of the 10% tariff imposed on Kenyan exports by the United States of America, Madam Speaker. This tariff, Madam Speaker, is generally to affect the sectors of tea, coffee, horticulture, textile, and other sectors that are largely contributing to Kenyan exports, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I don't know why this is not a matter of substantive motion in this House. In fact, I wanted to wish Senator Cherargei the courage to bring this as a matter of national importance and a motion that this House must converse on. And, Madam Speaker, if possible, go ahead and even make resolutions, Madam Speaker.